And welcome back to the Boxing One podcast, where we talk everything from college basketball to the NBA world, and as well as individual college prospect breakdowns. And I mean, the national championship's already here. We're not gonna, I guess, dance around that. I mean, the college basketball season's pretty much already over, and like I said, I mean, I'm not surprised really too much. I did have these two teams here. If you did listen to my last video, I wasn't expecting Michigan to absolutely just beat the doors off of Arizona, but I did have UConn beating Illinois, and the game. Honestly, I mean, if you did listen, I think it went exactly as I portrayed it or projected it to go. But we'll see if I can do that three times in a row, and we'll get into the point guards once again. Like I said, these are going to be guys that are going to have the ball a lot for these two individual teams. I think it's probably going to be pretty even. Silas Demery, I think a lot of people really weren't up to date on how well of or how good of a basketball player he really is. I've been a fan since he killed Kentucky last year when he was at Georgia. Uh, Really good point guard. I feel like he's developed a lot this year. His shot's a little bit inconsistent as right now, but he like I said, I thought he was going to generate maybe 7 assists on the eye, and I can't remember how many he exactly had, but potential assists he probably had at least 10 plus, if not maybe 13. Like I said, he's going to get a lot of people involved. And Ellie Cadeau is another version of that where he's going to, I think, what do you have, like maybe 10 assists, I think, somewhere around there. He looked really good yesterday, and he's going to create a lot of offense for this team. Both really scrappy defenders, too. I think Elliott's maybe a little bit better of a defender if we really want to get nitpicky. I have them really even. I think hopefully both of them stay out of foul trouble. I think both of them are going to be really crucial to this win if either team ultimately does pull it out. And maybe Elliott kind of has a slight advantage if he knocks out a couple more shots. I do think they're probably going to have pretty similar stat lines. Moving on to the shooting guards, Solo Ball and Amari Burnett. I really do think Solo Ball is going to have a slight advantage. He did play really well yesterday. Still dealing with that wrist injury. Still has not shot it well this entire year, but I don't know. I feel like this is a guy that rises to the occasion. Rises to the occasion occasionally. He's just knocked in a couple shots. You're gonna need to get a lot of 3-point volume up against this Michigan team where they have a lot bigger of players. I mean, as you can see there with the listed heights, I think he's gonna be really important. 3-point volume is gonna be really important if UConn even wants to have a chance to win this game. And shots are eventually gonna have to go down. I mean, this team can't stay cold forever. I know they've saying they're cold, but been making shots, but they've also been taking a lot of 3-point volume. You're going to make them eventually once you shoot a bunch of them. And maybe that happens tomorrow. Maybe they get really hot. Michigan got really hot coming out that second half. I know at one point they're like 7-9 from their first 3-point attempts coming out of that half. So a game of runs. We'll see who gets hot. And I think that's going to be a really swing thing. In this game, same thing with Amari Burnett. Really good shooter for them. I don't think he's really going to do too much more than just be a shooter for them. Both of them are probably not the greatest defenders, a little bit above average defenders. I think this could also be a really even matchup, but again, I do think Solo Ball is going to have a slightly better game than Amari Burnett. I think he's a little bit better of a rebounder, too. Burnett maybe has a little bit of an edge as a defender. I do think that's also a very even matchup. And I know, as you can see here with the green, I do have Braylon Mullins as a plus matchup against Yaxel Lindenberg. And that's just simply for the fact that he hurt his MCL and his ankle yesterday. Did not really look too mobile when he came back for that second half. I mean, I know he did come in. I think he knocked down 2 or 3. I think he knocked down 2 threes. I think he played maybe 4 minutes, 5 minutes of that opening of the second half. I think it was just kind of testing to see his mobility ultimately. But he didn't, even running back in transition, I don't know how he's going to be able to guard a lot of these off-ball movement screens that UConn ultimately runs. You're going to have to chase around Braylon Mullins, Solo Ball, Alex Caravan. I mean, if you have a bum knee and a bum ankle, I know you're a really great athlete and a really great player as it all is, but he just did not look very mobile. I know you're going to probably you had a little bit more adrenaline yesterday, I guess. Now today you're probably in a bunch of pain. Hopefully not. I really do want to see him play tomorrow. I know it's probably not going to be 100, but as close to 100 as he probably can be. I just don't see him playing too well chasing around Braylon Mullins and Solo Ball and Alex Caravan around screens. It's just you need mobility in both your knees, let alone I mean, it's just hard for anybody to guard that. And I do think Braylon Mullins, he did shoot it well yesterday. Still in the hometown, he's still in his home state. We'll see. Special things happen when you're playing in front of your home crowd, essentially. And he did play really well yesterday in the first half. Kind of get a little bit quiet yesterday. Drills a big time three to seal it, essentially. We'll see what he does. I really do think he's going to be a plus matchup tomorrow. And I think that's just simply because the Axel's just not at 100%. I would say he's probably closer to 50. We'll see. I know he's probably going to be taking some painkillers and stuff, but I just generally just do not see him having the mobility to be able to chase around people around screens. But I hope I'm wrong. Personally, I do want to see this be a better matchup, and I don't want it to ultimately be that there could be a narrative that they lose this game because they're not at 100%. But I really do hope he plays, essentially. Next, moving on to the power forwards, Alex Caravan and Morez Johnson. This is the first one I have for Michigan. I think Morez Johnson's just too big. We saw it a little bit yesterday towards, I think, maybe like the last 9 minutes of the Illinois game where they finally started to attack the post, try to get some post-up looks and some easier looks. I think Michigan has a lot better, or just slightly better coach. I think they have a lot better of a half-court offense. They're not relying on as much isolation. A lot of it, like I said, is going to run through Elliot Cadeau. I think they're still going to get these post sets probably through Morez Johnson at times. He just has maybe 40 pounds on Alex Caravan. I think it's going to be really tough for him to guard him down there. I think that's going to be a really big mismatch. I think the weight-wise and just his strength is going to be just an overall problem for UConn to handle. See how that goes tomorrow. I do think Alex Caravan has been really, really cold as well. Another one of these guys that just has not been shooting it the greatest recently. I think he went like 1 for 8 yesterday, 1 for 7 from 3. Shots have to eventually go down. I don't think that he's going to have more of an impact than Morez Johnson in this game. We'll see. I just think defensively he's just not going to be able to guard him. There's just too much of a weight factor you're giving up. But moving on to the centers, Terrace Reed's he's amazing. He's a fun guy to watch. He's a lot smarter than I even thought. He's a pretty decent IQ too. The way that these past couple of half-court interviews that he's really broken down the game, and it's been pretty accurate. I mean, you wouldn't ultimately expect that from the bigger fellow. The guy's like 250, getting a lot of paint touches, probably just there to put the ball in the basket and rebound. He has a pretty great grasp of what's actually going on, and he has a lot better of an IQ, and I think you see that a lot in the kick-out passes he makes when he does get double-teamed. I think similar to Morez Johnson, I don't think JaBiiird, he's going to be on him. I think they're probably going to throw a little bit more Morez Johnson on him, just matching up weight-wise in that post. But I think if they do match up as it is in this graphic with Terrace Reed on a JaBiiird, I think that the length is going to help, but I do think the size, you're probably going to have to foul him a little bit more. And if he gets in foul trouble, it's going to be old. That's going to be a huge swing factor. Either side, if either one of these lose their main big, that should be a huge swing in this game. Coming in, I have it really even. I think Mara's paint protection is going to be very crucial. But again, UConn shoots a lot of outside-oriented shots. They really very rarely are attacking the basket unless it's Silas Demery. Solo balls a lot more. He likes to get to a mid-range pull-up, same with Braylon Mullins. Caravan will get there occasionally, but closeouts, it's not going to be a lot of downhill attacking. So Amara does have the paint really on lock, essentially. There's not going to be a lot of free layups in this game. But it's just not the way that UConn plays unless it's through Terrace Reed. So I don't know. I do have it even pretty much essentially with those two matchups. It's going to be hard to get to the basket, but they also don't rely on getting the basket. So we'll see how much the impact. I think this is going to be essentially even for these two, like the point guards. I guess a slight edge to UConn in the starting five as a I think like 7.5 underdog coming into the game. That's just what I believe in this 5-player breakdown. Just personal opinion. I don't think there's that too much bias in there aside from Braylon Mullins and Yaxel. But getting to the bench, Malachi Smith is just not better than Trey McKinney at this point. Malachi Smith, I did say he was scrappy. He was annoying. Comes in and picks in like 2 fouls instantly in like 14 seconds, it felt like. Did not really play too much yesterday. Cool, I guess you're rested for today or tomorrow. Still going to be really scrappy defender. I think he's going to pick up Elliot Cadeau when Silas does ultimately get tired. Maybe he runs a little bit. I mean, he is going to run the backup point guard. He does ultimately run that bench unit when those that lineup subs. I just don't see him having too much of an impact unless he's maybe a couple steals, maybe a crucial assist. I don't see him playing ultimately too much unless Silas Demery needs just a breather. Trey McKinney, on the other hand, is a very crucial part of this Michigan team. I think he knocked down like 4 threes yesterday. Really good shooter. Confident shooter now. He's really starting to play some of his best basketball. And I think if he does have another one of those games where he did yesterday, maybe like, let's say 9 to 13 points off the bench in this next game, I think that's just going to give them a slight edge here. That's going to be a really big boost. Bench scoring in any game is really important, and I do think in the national championship, the last game of your season, that could really be a swing player, and I do think Trey McKinney is very capable of giving that advantage. Same with Roddy Gale Jr. here. Great bench player for this Michigan team. Very athletic. I think he dunked on, oh man, who did he dunk on? Krivos yesterday? I mean, ridiculous. Off of 2, I think, with 2 hands. I think he had another dunk like that in the second half. I don't think he was on anybody. He's knocked down a couple 3-point shots. Great defender, athlete, a really great athlete. Not really too much more you can expect. I think he is a Jaden Ross essentially, but another year, maybe another 2 years of further along in his development. Jaden Ross did come in. I think he knocked down his first 2 threes for UConn yesterday. Another energy guy. Essentially, these two guys are playing the same role. I don't see Jaden Ross essentially playing better than Roddy Gale. Maybe he has another really good game, knocks down 2 threes. I know he had the dunk. He kind of got like rim stuffed. He's just an energy guy, and if he comes in, gives you 6 points, 8 points, that's a huge plus. Completely swings this matchup, I think. But at the same time, I don't see him playing better than Roddy Gale. And I think this is going to be the most important one. I know it's the 8th man. Eric Riba you have to stay out of foul trouble, and you have to be giving them something, I think, in this matchup. I don't think you're ever really going to have Will Cheddar on him. He's just going to come in and spell Terrace Reed, and you're going to be on JaBiiird and Morez Johnson if they're playing smaller and playing Morez at the center. I think he picked up like 3 fouls yesterday, probably played like 4 minutes. Super ineffective, just was basically useless because he just could not stay out of foul trouble. I think he also smoked a left hand. He's left-handed, but that's why I'm pointing this out. He missed a left-hand layup with very minimal defense on him. Moment was probably a little bit big yesterday. This is another freshman. I think that this is a really important one. If Terrace Reed gets in foul trouble, you're going to have to play like 12 minutes or plus. So it's a really big one, I think. On the other side, I don't think Will Cheddar is going to have as big of an impact in this game. He's really good floor spacer. Might get like 2 or 3 shots as well throughout the entirety of the game. Just going to be giving you a breather, and unless Axel Lindenborg cannot go. If he's not playing, then Will Cheddar probably will have more of an impact on this game. I probably will see Roddy Gale essentially filling into that starting lineup on paper. Will Cheddar still will probably play like 20-plus minutes in this game. Floor spacing will be really critical. Morez Johnson, JaBiiird, really not the greatest shooters. Yaxel's been shooting a lot better. Bum knee, if he's not playing, then obviously you're not getting an impact. Touched on Roddy Gale, he's not the greatest shooter. He's a swing shooter. He makes them when you need him to make them. Essentially tomorrow, I think he's going to knock down a couple. Shooting's be really important for this Michigan team. They did get really hot yesterday. Hopefully it's a sign where they can kind of carry that over. I really just want to see a better game than what Michigan and Arizona was, essentially. I guess I'll wrap it up. Jalen Stewart, I think he played like 3 or 4 minutes coming off an injury. I don't really think he's going to play too much tomorrow. Maybe 3 or 4 minutes again, 5 minutes. Maybe he comes in and gets you an offensive rebound. Maybe he gets you a dunk or a steal, a block. It's not big enough for me ultimately to swing the matchup. I think that's just an even with, we'll call that dash LJ Kaysen, who's not even going to be dressed. He has a torn ACL. We'll call that even with LJ Kaysen. Just maybe Jalen Stewart comes in and hits 2 threes and replaces Jaden Ross. Again, I don't think you're getting both of them playing really well. Just the way that the game's going to be in the national championship. I don't think all the role players are going to be playing their best basketball. I don't think it's ultimately going to change too much in those 3 minutes. That being said, there's 3 green and then 3 green. I think this is going to be a really good matchup. I don't think Vegas is or everybody else is kind of thinking this is going to be a really good matchup. I think this is going to surprise a lot of people. Dan Hurley, I mean, I know everybody's seen his coaching antics the past couple of days. I think this is further than coaching. These are still really good players on UConn's roster, and I'm hinting in, I'm still keeping my pick. I'm still sticking with UConn. This just because they don't have the big names, they don't have a Yaxel, they don't have an Elliot Cadeau, they don't have an Adai Mara. These guys are still really good. I still think Alex Caravan's a top 25 pick in this year's draft. Braylon Mullins is probably still a top 25 pick in this draft. Silas Demery will probably be a top 35 pick in next year's draft, and as well as Solo Ball potentially when he comes back. This team may not have the big names this year on paper this year. Terrace Reed's also a really good player. Look at his numbers during this run. He had like 20 rebounds this first game. I know they played a nobody, but 20 rebounds in any level is 20 rebounds. I do have UConn upsetting. It's going to be crazy. I know a lot of people aren't going to expect it. I have been sticking with UConn since I think end of January, beginning of February, and I do think they're going to win the national championship. This is the third time in 4 years Dan Hurley's ultimately come in and rejuvenated this program and turned them into a blue blood, and I think this is his sixth year there. And I think it's going to surprise a lot of people. I've said it here first. I've been a fan of UConn all year, and it's not really surprising me because I've said it. So we'll leave it off on that, and I'll catch you guys next time.